Hello everybody, welcome back, RavenWreckt here, and today I will be doing something that I have not done before. This involves answering commonly asked questions about several games. Today I will be pouring salt on the now reopened wound of a debate that ended years ago. Like 2006, something like that. Afterward, probably. Anyway, the debate consisted of who ripped off who, Okami, or The Legend of Zelda, Twilight Princess. Both are games that shared some extremely similar features, and I mean extremely similar features, both in gameplay, combat, and style. But not art style, it's kinda obvious. I mean, unless you're blind. I don't mean to offend anyone. So let's start by going over the obvious. In Okami, you play as, well, a Japanese wolf. And in Twilight Princess, you play as a Link. What wolf? A Link wolf. Or something like that. However, the gameplay of and combat as each wolf is surprisingly different. In Okami, you play as the sun god Amaterasu, and are tasked with taking down the evil that is Orochi. Now, it does use the stereotypical button mash, hack and slash thingamabobber that you would come to expect from most games nowadays. However, the incorporation of the celestial brush definitely mixes up combat. This original ability allows you to do stereotypical things like your common slash, or even alter the environment, such as creating surfaces you can walk on water or blowing up sides of mountains. However, in Twilight Princess, the case is completely different. Twilight Princess's Wolf-Link controls require you to rely much more on button mashing. However, the lock-on feature that most Zelda games have to offer can definitely vary up combat, allowing you to lock onto enemies and attack them individually, although this can be buggy. Not only does this allow you to aim when it would normally be impossible, but it allows you to perform certain bite combos, such as ripping the soul out of a Poe or other horribly gruesome things like that. It should also be noted that the premises of the game are almost entirely different as well. The premise of Okami is based almost entirely around Japanese lore, from traditional lore to fairy tales. The game centers around defeating the evil demon known as Orochi, as well as the fox demon Ninetales, and Lechku and Nechku, the twin demons that inhabit Wauku's shrine, and Yami, although I won't delve too deep into that to avoid spoiling the story for anyone who would like to know more about it, or play it, or something. I don't know, why am I still talking? Twilight Princess, on the other hand, is what can only be described as a unique Zelda game, straying from the norm that you would come to expect from the series. The game primarily focuses on taking down Zant, also known as the Usurper King, who takes it upon himself to drench the world in twilight to make it suitable for his species, albeit unsuitable for other species. With the help of his master, Zant attempts to achieve his goals through any means necessary, including eliminating our hero, Link. Much of the game revolves around purifying the areas that have been drenched in twilight by Zant. Although this can be considered unique for a Zelda game, it does eventually boil down to the whole, Ganon is the real bad guy. You should probably kill him. Remember how I mentioned that Zant attempted to corrupt the world with Twilight? Well, a fairly large portion of the game is reverting these corrupt areas back to normal. Do you know what other game involves reverting corrupt areas back to normal? Okami, of course. In fact, Okami takes an even bigger focus on this concept. Essentially, the evil of Orochi, or Yami, whatever you want to think, spread throughout the land and infected all of the pure areas, making them all evil and stuffs. And evil is bad, of course. So you have to fix evil, because no one likes evil, unless you are evil. I'm going quite off topic, aren't I? Now, although the fact that the two first dungeons of the games are poison/jungle areas, and that two of the bosses are parasitic/spider enemies, this really didn't justify that one side ripped off the other. Instead, I took it upon myself to delve a little deeper, into the history of these two games. Upon closely inspecting the release dates, you can tell that Okami was released on the 20th of April, 2006. However, Twilight Princess was released November 19th, 2006, at least in North America, meaning it was released several months after Okami was. However, upon delving deeper, you will find out that it was first in development since 2003 and announced in 2004. Okami, however, was in development since 2004 and announced in 2005. Now, this could be seen as substantial evidence to say that Okami ripped off Twilight Princess, as Okami's development did start after Twilight Princess's. However, Twilight Princess's development started in late 2003, while Okami started in early 2004, before E3. So, to be fair, it is possible that the initial concept for Okami had already been created before Twilight Princess was announced, although it might have taken inspiration from Twilight Princess. However, what could be considered one of the most important pieces of evidence is the fact that Hideki Kamiya, the developer of Okami himself, said that he took inspiration from the Legend of Zelda series. So, I think, all in all, it's fair to say that Okami ripped off French onion soup. Because, I mean, look at that bread and that grass. It's got onion. And it's got French. And it even has soup. Yeah. Wait. What? But, in all seriousness, I think it's completely obvious that Pokemon ripped off Digimon. Now that we have obtained all the critical information, we are now capable of deciding the answer to our question. Now, although original concepts of Okami date back to 2002, you must realize that development didn't start until 2004, as stated earlier. Although the development started before E3 when Twilight Princess was announced, you must keep in mind that the gameplay had not been fully developed. Although the concept of playing as a wolf had been there from the beginning, and it wasn't implemented until later on in Twilight Princess, it would be almost impossible for Twilight Princess to have ripped off Okami, as Okami was announced after Twilight Princess. You must also keep in mind that it would be impossible for Okami to rip off the purification feature, as that was not announced until the release of the game. Now, I think this is less of a matter of whether or not Okami ripped off Twilight Princess, and more whether or not Okami ripped off the Legend of Zelda series in general. As of course, Okami has many features similar to the Legend of Zelda series in whole, which is obviously much older than Okami. Although I wouldn't exactly call it a ripoff, in honesty, Okami is basically a Zelda game with a Japanese coat of paint. Wait a minute, but isn't the Legend of Zelda Japanese? Shut up! I don't care. Now, I think it is important for you to know that there is no bias involved in this at all. In fact, I personally prefer Okami over Twilight Princess. And while I do think the term ripoff is somewhat harsh in this scenario, if we're getting technical, Okami is the culprit. As I said, I wouldn't exactly say that Okami ripped off The Legend of Zelda, but it was more that it was inspired by The Legend of Zelda. As, of course, a lot of the gameplay is based off of The Legend of Zelda. So, I say we stop arguing about who ripped off who, and allow them to coexist in perfect harmony. Or, you know, maybe you just want to watch the world burn. Hey everybody, RavenWreckt here. Thank you all for watching. This is the first time I've actually done a video like this. Tell me if you liked it, and, you know, let me know by liking and subscribing. I mean, it's just the obvious thing to do. I do apologize for the slight video hiatus I've had. I've tried to upload a few things, but I've been particularly busy lately. But yeah, please leave a comment and tell me if you liked the video. I certainly enjoyed doing it, and whether or not you'd like to see more. And feel free to debate whether or not you think Okami was the culprit, or maybe it was Twilight Princess. Maybe I'm an idiot. I probably am. Goodbye.